Flash episode 18 All-Star Team Up. This was definitely a fun episode. We got to see Adam come in. It was a cool Flash Arrow crossover without the Arrow. But we of course got Felicity, we got Adam in, and I think this episode, oddly enough, is the most action we've seen out of Adam since he's really premiered. Like, we got the little fight between Ray, Roy, and Oliver. But that was really like a tiny little fight that they had, because of a misunderstanding in Arrow. And then in this, we actually got to see him fly around way more than we've seen him fly around in Arrow. And we got to see him do like the sort of blast. It kind of looked like fire, like blue fire, but I think it was just like an energy blast type thing or something. But it was really cool. We got to see him fly around, and he's even enhanced his technology because of the enemy they fought in this episode with like extremely small bits of technology. So it'll be interesting to see how that carries over and which episode it actually transfer into for Arrow. It might be the next episode because the next one is actually an Arrow Adam team up because of the stuff that happens in Arrow. I don't want to spoil it in case anyone's watching both, but you might be behind on Arrow because you just started or whatever. But we're getting a little team up there, and it's pretty cool. I think it'll be pretty nice. It was cool to see him in this episode, and he got to interact with everyone at Star Labs. He came during an interesting time because of all the stuff going on with Barry, but it was still really cool. Like, there was a lot of emotional issues in this episode. A lot of it had to do with Barry, of course, and him trying to figure out how does he, stay himself, like, happy, fun Barry around this guy that he knows is the Reverse Flash now, and he knows is the person that, killed his mother. And then we also have the other side of things where they added in this brand new element that honestly I didn't expect in the slightest, which was them showing Eddie that Barry was the Flash. I didn't think that would end up affecting Eddie and Iris as far as the relationship goes. That wasn't something that I even contemplated. It was like, it just didn't seem like it would be a thing. And the way they started the episode, I thought this one was gonna have sort of a side story where Barry and Eddie kind of get a little bit closer, and it's like, it's cool that you're on the team now, because they have the opening, and it's like they're like a 3-man team now, and it's not just Joe and Barry. It's like they can work together, and they don't have to hide it from Eddie, who is obviously Joe's partner. So when he's actually on a case, he doesn't have to walk away to talk with Barry or anything like that, and they can actually have the Flash help them out, and it's no big deal, and it's actually really cool. And they catch all these criminals and stuff. It's like, they catch the guys in the car. He's like Barry swapping places, for people and stuff like that. And it was really fun. And then they go to the sort of jewelry store heist. They hold them up. The guy is pointing at them. Barry runs in, takes the guns, and it's like, oh, well, we got them too. And it's just like, 3 jobs done in one night. And it was just, boom, we got everybody, and let's go home. And I thought that was really cool. And then it kind of diverges a little into Eddie's personal tale, where it's him, as cool as it is to have Barry's help as the Flash, now he has to deal with hiding that from Iris, and she knows something's up with him, and it's really affecting their relationship, which I just didn't expect. I thought it was actually well done. I didn't think it was like sappy and like, oh, here's the love story stuff. I thought it was actually pretty interesting to see them have an issue, like, in general, because typically they don't. They're just like, everything's perfect, aside from Barry, obviously. But I thought it was really cool, and of course it is still technically Barry, but I thought it was just really cool. I thought it was an interesting way for them to have it, where the issue comes up from him just having an issue that he can't talk about. And Iris even said, like, in the end, although Barry had like a really valid point, it didn't matter to her. And I thought that was kind of cool. It's like, man, she really sticking to her guns, and that kind of sucks because it's like she throws out this ultimatum for him, like, if you don't tell me, I'm gone, which I think is a bit extreme just because he's not saying something. Although her initial thought process was what he's hiding is that he's actually cheating on her. So, when someone's coming from that, mentality, I kind of can't argue with it. Like, if that's what they think's going on, that's obviously like the biggest thing you can kind of do to hurt someone in a relationship. So, I can kind of see why she'd throw the ultimatum out there, though. Coming from that, train of thought, it still kind of sucks, and I'm sure everything will end up working out, just so that Iris and Barry can't get together for a lot longer. But I actually thought it was well done. I didn't think it was like the sappy love portion of the episode or anything. It actually entertained me a lot because it wasn't something I was expecting at all. And then we had like our main villain who's been double named as the Bug-Eyed Bandit. That was actually pretty interesting. I think her sort of inclusion in this episode was honestly like just a simple plot device. Like she didn't have that much she did. She killed like two people off and she was going to kill the woman who led Mercury Labs. But I feel like really it was just another way to get them to have these separate interactions where it's like, okay, we do this. It's a way to kind of advance Adam's character for Arrow, and whenever he does end up coming back in the Flash, it's a way for them to kind of have all these characters talk about certain things, and Barry, obviously having to deal with the next new villain that they're handling or trying to handle. He has to interact more with Harrison Wells, obviously, who he isn't feeling too comfortable around. So it seemed like it was really just a reason for them to advance the plot, which is totally fine by me. Like it was totally fine because everything that revolved around the villain was actually far more important than the villain herself in this episode. And I thought that was cool. I was fine with that. It was just, I don't think we've had that except for when they actually did the Arrow Flash team up, when it was like, it was really about Arrow versus Flash. And then they kind of do their thing and it's like, let's go get the villain together. And they don't even show what happens with that character anymore. And it was just like, we got that guy, and it was, during commercials or whatever. So I thought it was actually kind of cool. It was pretty well done. Like I said, I think it was just a good way for them to have certain things happen that advance the plot for, through several different things. And ultimately, most of that stuff kind of led to the ending of this episode where they talk about Harrison Wells. And, Cisco kind of telling everyone that he has these dreams, or what he believes are dreams. And when I saw that, that was probably my favorite part of this episode. It was definitely the biggest shock of the episode, where basically what's happening to him is that because he died, I believe this is obviously complete speculation, but I think the reason he's getting visions of everything that happened compared to, everyone else, is because he actually died during that alternate timeline. It wasn't like, oh, he's just, doing something else now. He would not exist. He would be completely gone. And it's kind of like this weird temporal collision happening because he's, lived so far beyond, his initial timeline. And I just thought that was really cool. Like, he's getting these, certain things kind of trigger, like, I don't even know what to call them. They aren't flashbacks, really, because they never happened to him, but they're kind of flashbacks, so that's what I'm going to consider them. And, now he knows, especially with the end of the episode, he knows that that Barry actually does have something significant on his hands. He's not just, coming at him with something really crazy. He's seeing these visions repeatedly, and he knows that Harrison Wells is the Reverse Flash. And I don't know if they'll become really clear to him, where they do become full-on memories like they would be to anyone else. But I'm excited to see how that happens, how that plays out. And it should be really interesting. And I think, now that I think about it, they may have something to kind of help him remember, and that might be where the sort of virtual reality thing comes into play, which is in one of the next couple of episodes. It was in a trailer that they did, and it's just him in like this virtual reality world. It looked like he was walking around Star Labs, but it was in virtual reality. And I think that might be the reason for that, is just to be like, all right, he's having these certain flashes and this and that. We'll place him in a virtual version of Star Labs and place a virtual version of the Reverse Flash and maybe Dr. Wells. And that's how we'll, completely trigger this memory. Instead of it being flashes here and there and he's having these memories that seem weird, we'll put him into this situation where his mind will somehow unlock it, and that's how he'll get the full memory, I guess. Like, it's still really weird to term it because it's not a memory, since he never even experienced that, alternate timelines and stuff. But I thought it was a great little thing for the episode. It completely surprised me, like I said, but I definitely loved it. I'm excited to see where they really take things now. I know the next big kind of examination on Dr. Wells is what happened after his wife died. Like, what made him change so much after his wife died. And eventually they're going to find things out. I don't know if it's going to actually be in the next episode, but there's going to be some more crossover stuff, and we're going to have Captain Lance from Arrow come over to Flash, and they're gonna find, I would assume, the actual Harrison Wells body. I initially thought that that would just end up being Simon Stagg, but I think it makes more sense because it's actually Bones, so it'll probably be the real Harrison Wells. And if it is, then they're gonna be really ramping some stuff up for the season finale. Like, the Reverse Flash is gonna either get killed off or he's gonna take off, and I don't know where that's gonna leave the show. But that's kind of one of the big things I'm looking forward to seeing is what are they gonna do if they get like the 100% evidence, like you aren't even Harrison Wells, you're someone somehow, with his face and voice and stuff like that. If all that happens and they do out him as the Reverse Flash, are they gonna kill him? Is he gonna take off? Or like what's gonna happen? Is the timeline gonna change so much that he gets erased from history or something like that? Which I think would be pretty cool if that happened. But we're gonna have to wait and see. I definitely love this episode. Of course, I want to know what you guys thought about it. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and what I want to know is what do you guys think about, or what did you guys think about the Atom coming into Flash without Arrow? Like we got Felicity and Atom from Arrow, but not Arrow and the rest of the team. It was just two little characters coming in. Shouldn't say little, but two characters coming in, kind of doing their thing, and it was just pretty interesting. I thought it was actually kind of cool. It was a cool crossover without going full on in detail, which they can't really do anyway, considering some of the stuff happening with Arrow. And I don't know, once again, like where they're gonna place the timeline, because they always mention Flash, like, oh yeah, like yesterday we just came from Central City and stuff. So I'm not sure exactly where in the timeline it's gonna be or how much time is gonna pass from the last episode of Arrow to the one that's coming on tomorrow, but I think it'll be pretty cool, and obviously I loved it. It's always great to have any sort of crossover stuff, especially if at some point they start crossing over to villains. I think that would be really awesome, which technically they did in the first crossover that they had, but I think it's gonna be pretty sweet. The next time they have Adam in and he's advanced his suit even more, and they do even more nerdy stuff with Ray and Cisco, because that's some funny stuff too. But I want to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.